such a weird reverb. Hey, what's up? Cherne here for KRISCOART. Today we're looking at 20 YouTube channels that you should definitely be watching if you're into filmmaking. So we'll start with some of the more obvious ones. Number one is Film Riot. You most likely will have heard of them. It's just a great channel overall. If you are into filmmaking, visual effects, editing, all of that, it is such a great source of knowledge. But what I find really the most interesting on that channel is the journey itself, like seeing where they started, seeing how they're growing and where they're heading into the future. I think that's just so interesting in terms of them as a channel, as a company, or Ryan Conley as an individual and filmmaker. And that's most likely because that's what I'm trying to do with this channel. This is all just a way to document and share my journey as a filmmaker. So that's why I really like Film Riot, but again, they have just amazing content overall. So number two, you probably have heard of Corridor Digital. They make a ton of viral videos like Superman with a GoPro and all these cool things, but they have a second channel which is like this vlog behind the scenes style channel, which I find it really interesting. It's called Sam and NIKO. Really interesting to see how they're running their company, the dynamic between all of the people that are working and collaborating with each other within Corridor. I think there's a lot to learn from seeing people work on their craft and how they go about it. So definitely recommend Sam and NIKO. Let's move on to number three, which is Cinematography Database. Now, Cinematography Database is started and run by Mark Workman, and it's just an amazing place to just get inspired and just dive deep into the cinematography of some of the major Hollywood movies that are out there. And it's an interesting perspective, and it's a different perspective here on YouTube because a lot of channels just focus on the low budget side of things, how to get cinematic look on a budget, which I definitely have never done that. But his channel actually focuses on the cinematography and gear used on bigger sets. So it's just a really interesting look into what the industry is actually doing and how some of the movies that you go and see in the movie theater are actually lit. Now, a slight throwback is number four, and INDY MOGUL is still one of the channels that actually started it all on YouTube in terms of filmmaking and making that type of content popular for other creators to come along, such as myself and Film Riot and all these other guys. They've actually relaunched their channel recently, which I was so excited for. They focus more on filmmaking on the cheap, things that you can build around your house and just items that you can put together and just heighten that production value without spending that much money, which is something I'm all about. Number five is Rocket Jump Film School. Now, you probably are familiar with Freddie Wong. Again, another one of the OGs here on YouTube in terms of filmmaking and VFX. His channel got changed over to Rocket Jump, but they also have a second channel which is called Rocket Jump Film School. Instead of having all the flashy videos and original shorts that they make, this channel is dedicated to sharing knowledge and sharing behind the scenes content of those bigger projects that they make. And it's really inspiring. You can learn a lot from just even seeing the filmmaking process of other creators. They have a lot of beginner stuff, as well as just a lot of content that shows how they make their videos, which is always interesting to watch. Number six is DSLR Guide, and the reason why I like this channel so much is because it's all centered around the idea that you don't need the best kind of gear to create cinematic images, and that's something I'm all about again, and I love that kind of stuff where you can have a DSLR or even some of the lower end DSLRs and still make magic happen, and I think that's what movies is all about. That's one of the things that can inspire a lot of people that don't have a lot of money and still tell their stories. Number seven is Every Frame a Painting, and this is probably one of my all-time favorite film analysis channels. And I've included a few other film analysis related YouTube channels on this list, and that's because I think they're so important. I mean, once you really break down the structure behind movies and you see how almost everything is intentional, there's just a lot of thought process that goes into every single artistic aspect of a film. And watching these type of videos and feeling inspired by them and learning from them can really open a whole different realm in your own filmmaking experience to really elevate your own projects. Another similar channel is number 8, which is the channel CRISWELL. That's another film analysis channel, and I'll list a few more just because I can't get enough of these sorts of channels. Number 9, again, very similar, so film analysis type of channel is Now You See It. Once you start playing some of these videos of film analysis, you can't get enough, so that's why I listed multiple channels so that you can just keep watching the breakdowns and analysis of some of the classics out there and some of the films that really have an impact on audiences. Next is the Royal Ocean Film Society. This is again another channel with great content and video essays on a lot of filmmaking related things, such as, the benefits and just the joy and the fun that comes out of shooting low budget. It's just another channel where you can find a lot of inspiration and a lot of learning. The NERDWRITER, or as his channel reads, the NERDWRITER 1. I love this channel. He has so many interesting videos, even a series called Understanding Art, which also includes films and film analysis, but also paintings. And it's just so interesting to see a breakdown of these different art forms. Things like this are always a great source of inspiration. You could be listening to an analysis of a painting, and that can spark ideas for a scene in your next short. Next is CINEFIX. And I really love that channel just from even a fan of movies. They have a huge collection of content where they break down and analyze films and tropes, a ton of stuff that you as a filmmaker or as a movie viewer will definitely enjoy. Next is Eyes on Cinema, and this channel is just a collection of interviews from some of the greatest filmmakers of our time, and it's just so interesting to see their perspective because a story can be completely different depending on whose mind and eyes it's filtered through. COOKE Optics TV. If you are familiar with COOKE lenses, they make some of the best lenses in the industry. If you go on their website, you look at the TV shows and movies that were shot with those lenses, you really start to see what kind of caliber this company is and just the quality of the glass that they manufacture. It is so incredible. My dream is to eventually own a set of anamorphic COOKE lenses. Hopefully that will happen. I'm gonna rent some of them soon, so I'll be able to show you guys what that looks like and maybe even release a pack of anamorphic flares. I don't know, let me know if you want that. Let me know if you would be interested. Anyways, COOKE Optics TV is a YouTube channel that they made where they interview just the leading cinematographers in the industry, and some of the tips and some of the experiences that they share from set is so invaluable. I can't believe this channel doesn't have more recognition. Definitely go over there, subscribe, because everything they put out is just gold. And again, it's leading experts in the industry, so there's a lot to learn from them. DP30 is a channel that has just a guy interviewing movie stars, movie directors, but he does it in such an interesting way because it doesn't feel like that press junket type of package where it's all these standard questions and it's just to promote the movie. Interviewing movie stars and directors and all that when they're trying to promote a movie sometimes can feel like a sales pitch, and if you look at one interview to the next, they all start to kind of merge into the same questions. This guy does it in a completely different way, and he's so effective in just getting this conversational tone while just asking the most interesting questions. There's so much about the process of acting, of directing, that he gets out of the people that he's interviewing that I think is just so useful and great content for us to learn from. D for Darius. He has a lot of filmmaking content and also film analysis, so he has kind of the best of both worlds. It's really interesting. He has this really cool charisma to him. He's very upbeat and energetic, so he definitely can keep things interesting, and he conveys some really useful information that I know that you guys will dig. So definitely check out his channel. Lights Film School is a great YouTube channel in terms of lighting specifically. I really love the few videos. I wish they did more videos on lighting, but the ones that they have are so great. They explain downstage versus upstage lighting, which I think is something that can really change and affect the way that your shot is and make it really moody. And shameless plug here, if you do want to learn more about lighting and cinematic lighting and all that, I actually did a series, so you can check that out in the info cards. Filmmaker IQ is a fantastic source for just really in-depth learning. There is just a ton of material on there that I've actually even learned through my film school, and it's there for free. This is the best thing about these kind of channels. It's just people putting out content for free for others to learn, and I think we're getting past the era where you need to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for a tuition. Next is a pretty obscure channel called George Rockwell-Schmidt. Sorry if I got that name wrong, but I think it's a fantastic channel, and I don't know why it doesn't have more recognition. I just really like the way that this guy thinks. He just conveys certain things, especially in the Just a Thought series that he has. I just think it's brilliant. Also, some of his rant on movies and just talks about movies is super interesting, and I really think it's just one of those channels that deserves more recognition. VideoCopilot, now they have a YouTube channel where they post videos, but it's what got me started in After Effects. A lot of their tutorials are just so incredible, and Andrew Kramer is just such an inspiration for all the work that he does, and now he's moved on to doing great things like Star Wars and other visual effects for some of the major films out there, and he shares a lot of that knowledge on his channel, on his website. He also has a lot of great plugins, great tools, great assets that you've probably seen in other people's videos or that you might have used yourself. So with that, that makes 20 YouTube channels that you should watch as a filmmaker. Now I'm sure there's plenty more out there, and that's my favorite part, is discovering new and up-and-coming channels that I've never heard of before, and just watching their content and seeing them grow. So if you guys know any channels, or if you would recommend any channels, just definitely post them in the comments section below. And this is also a filmmaking channel, so if you enjoy this type of content, or short films, or visual effects, tutorials, and behind the scenes, and possibly vlogs, which might be coming soon. Are you guys leaving?
You want lunch, yeah?
Lunch?
That's what we're gonna get.
I want food.
Make your pick. White background, food.
All right, guys, that wraps it for this video. I'll see you next week.